Guys, it's been a long time coming, but I'm proud to announce that my hands are finally registered with the International Registry of Lethal Hands. This is the only place where your God-given gifts of danger can get the recognition that they truly deserve. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would anybody need to register their hands as lethal? Let me break it down for you. There are those among us whose hands are so downright dangerous, they need to be documented. Registration is a moral responsibility, and it's a vote for the greater good of humanity. The sole mission of the International Registry for Lethal Hands is to catalog the most formidable hands on the planet. So if you know someone, and you even suspect they possess lethal hands, do not hesitate. Register them immediately. And if you've ever looked at your own hands and thought, damn, these dogs are dangerous, don't settle. Go register. Head over to registeryourhands.com, fill out a simple form, and you're official. Remember, use the promo code Chael to save 20%, or just click on the link below. My partner Ryan has warned me. He warned me 7 years ago when we started this channel. He said, Chael, at some point, you're going to use this camera and this audience as your social group. You're going to turn it into a counseling session. You're going to become a weirdo like all the other guys that have done that. Maybe that's where I am today. Maybe this is what Ryan has talked about, but I got to talk to somebody about this. And frankly, I don't know where to go. Now, you guys know that I follow wrestling very closely, and you know that I'm a coach and I follow kids wrestling, and I'm even a parent. And I got my son, and he's at these wrestling tournaments. I watched a parent cut a child who happens to be female. She's 8 years old. I watched him cut that little girl from 58 pounds down to 50 pounds. She weighed 58 pounds is what this little girl, she's a third grader. And there was a tournament and the father cut her down to 50 pounds. Percentage-wise, off the top of my head, that's 15% of her body weight. So that she could enter a tournament, take on the competition, and in theory would have an advantage. And in theory, it was a big tournament. It was held out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I see this all the time. And these stupid ideas that we come up with in wrestling are very seldomly the kids. I very seldomly run into a kid that's got a really stupid idea. It's generally always the parents. And 99% of the time, it's the dads. It's very rare. And I have met dumb mom, believe me. But not often. I meet dumb mom about as often as I meet dumb athlete. It's generally dumb dad. So now let's rework this. At what point is that good parenting? Is that good coaching? Is that leadership? Is that mentorship? At what point is that abuse? Isn't your job as a parent, isn't one of your fundamental jobs to make sure that you feed your child? When the child is hungry, you give it something to eat. Isn't that like a fiduciary responsibility? To get 8 pounds off of a 58-pound girl, I cannot explain to you, but it is nothing short of starvation. The way you lose weight and the way you gain weight is the same, no matter how many books that you've read. You either eat less calories than your body would like to have, or you eat more calories than your body would like to have had. Now, how do you burn those calories in the first place? Well, you could, in theory, just starve, but most likely you're working really hard. You're running and you're practicing, you're doing whatever the coach asks, and then you're probably doing something on your own, only to come home to carrot sticks and celery and trying to get this weight off, and then you go and enter a tournament, and by the way, you find out the hard way like everybody else that the size doesn't matter. The better wrestler wins. I mean, you could search history, and you will find exceptions. You will find examples. But you're going to have to really search history to do it. The better wrestler wins. And the way to win a wrestling match isn't to weigh more than the other guy, or to have sacrificed or to cut more weight. The way to win a wrestling match is very clear, and it's even identified on page 3 of the rule book. Have more points than your opponent when time runs out. That's how you win a match. There's no other way. I hear coaches stand in front of a group and say, you must, and then they hit these buzzwords. You must sacrifice, you must be disciplined, you must be dedicated. You must be organized. I'll hear them. The problem is, that's not what the rule book says. The rule book doesn't say you got to outwork your opponent. The rule book doesn't say you got to get to bed on time, or you got to forego parties, or you got to do better on your homework, or that your mother has to love you more. The rule book says you got to have more points than the other guy when time runs out. That's how you win a wrestling match. And I watch people try to beat the system all the time. And the people that beat the system, when you sit them down and you talk to them, and it's very hard. It's very hard to talk to somebody that's already got their mind made up. But if you ever do, and you can nudge your way in, right? It's a fragile conversation anyway, because you want to grab the guy and go, listen, but before I smack the crap out of you for what I saw you do to your kid, before I do that, I'm going to explain to you why I'm going to give you this ass whipping. On the very rare times when you actually do that, that parent will come clean and go, hey, whoa, I love my kid. I was just trying to help. I love my kid. They told me they wanted to wrestle. It's so hard. It pains me to see them go to bed hungry, but this is what we got to do. What you find out in those conversations 100% of the time is that the parent themselves did not wrestle. The parent themselves never went to bed hungry. The parent themselves never did the water diet, ate the cabbage soup, had the snack of carrots and celery. They never actually did it. Now, they had a chance. They had a chance right here with this kid. When they were going to get this kid from 58 pounds down to 50 pounds, the parent could have just jumped in. Said, you're going to lose 8 pounds. Now, I weigh 200 pounds, so this is going to be 4% of my body weight. It's going to be way easier for me to do than it is for you. But in theory, I'm going to do what you do. Every time I kick you out of the car on the way home and make you run the rest of the way, I'm also going to get in a car. Mommy's going to drive home. Every time I sit you down to a dinner of nothing, I'm going to eat that same nothing. We are going to do this together. You will never run into the parent that did that. You'll never run into the parent that sacrificed along with the kid, but you're also never going to meet the kid that won the tournament because they cut the weight. That's a myth. And in my whole life, I do know exceptions to that. I have met people that had a number, and they had success, and had they not got down to that number, they wouldn't have had it. But there's a lot of things that factor in, mainly body type. You got a guy that's lean, trying to make him leaner is inappropriate. If you have a guy that's undersized, trying to make him more undersized is inappropriate. Now, if you're dealing with an obese kid in the first place, and one of the reasons you got him into sport is just to get his health and get his fitness in line, we're having a totally different conversation. But at what point? At what point is this encouragement? And at what point is this support versus abuse? There are so many people that believe as long as they don't put a hand on a kid, they're not abusing them. And those kids end up verbally abused. They end up mentally abused. But it's a very strange concept to want to build a big, tough machine while making it smaller. That's very weird. In the art of war, we didn't start with a tank and work our way down to a 22 caliber. It was just the opposite. We had a 22 caliber and then realized, what if we had a 38 size shell? Then we realized what we could do with a 44, and then what about a 44 Magnum? And then what if we got to a 45 and a 50 cal? And then you work your way up to a 223, and all of a sudden you got rockets. Find out, why on earth would you think in the world of combat smaller is better? In what walk of life have you seen that? In what battle for supremacy or battle of respect have you seen it go to the guy that could be more impoverished, lighter, more malnourished? It's a very simple question. It's a very binary question. But parents do need to consider that. At what point are you supporting the kid, and at what point is it abuse?